You have been lied to about the vending machine, not by the machine itself, which is honest enough, but by a whole industry of online gurus who sell it as the perfect passive income. Buy a box, fill it with cheap snacks, and watch the quarters roll in while you sleep. It sounds almost too simple. And here is the number that should stop you cold. The very same machine, stocked with the very same snacks, can earn $75 a month in one location and several thousand in another. Same box, same chips, a difference of more than 10 to 1. And that single fact, once you understand it, changes everything about how this business actually works. Because the vending machine is not what you think it is. It is not a snack business. It is barely even a machine business. Underneath that glowing box of chips and soda is one of the most misunderstood industries in America, and today we are going to pull it apart. There are two things almost nobody tells you. The first is that this was never really a business about machines at all. The second is a question of ownership and a quiet technological shift that has rewired the entire industry in the last few years. Get both, and you will never walk past a vending machine the same way again. Start with the sheer scale of the thing, because it is genuinely staggering for something so invisible. There are millions of vending machines scattered across the United States, tucked into office break rooms, hospital hallways, school gyms, and factory floors. U.S. vending operators pull in somewhere around $8 billion a year, and if you widen the lens to the whole world of automated, unattended retail, the sector runs well north of $30 billion. It is a genuine industry, quietly moving snacks and drinks to tens of millions of people every single day, and almost nobody thinks of it as anything at all. It is the definition of hiding in plain sight. So why does it look like such easy money? On the surface, the math is beautiful. You buy a machine, you fill it with snacks and drinks that cost you, say, 30 to 50 cents on the dollar. You sell them at a healthy markup, often a 50 to 70% gross margin on the product itself. There is no cashier. There is no storefront to rent. The machine works 24 hours a day, never takes a break, and never asks for a raise. Written on a napkin, it really does look like a tiny money printing robot. And that napkin math is exactly what the passive income pitch is built on. There is even a quiet art to what goes in each slot. Drinks tend to sell in high volume, but at thinner margins, while snacks move a little slower but earn more per unit, and the real winners are usually the items with high perceived value and low cost. A candy bar or a single-serve coffee that feels worth $2 but costs the operator a fraction of that. The whole box is a tiny experiment in pricing psychology, running silently in a hallway, but the napkin leaves out almost everything that matters. Start subtracting. The product itself eats 30 to 50% of every sale. The location almost always takes a cut, a commission that usually runs somewhere between 5 and 15% of gross sales, sometimes much more in a prime spot. Then come the costs the pitch never mentions. The restocking, which in the early days can run 1 to 2 hours per machine every single week. The fuel to drive your route. The repairs when a coil jams or a cooling unit dies. The card processing fees on every tap. The spoilage when a row of sandwiches goes unsold. Add it all up, and a decently placed machine often nets its owner only a couple $100s a month. Not nothing, but a very long way from passive, and a very long way from rich. Which brings us to the first thing nobody tells you. The vending machine business is not really about the vending machine. It is about the real estate. Go back to that opening number, $75 in one spot, several thousand in another, from an identical machine. The machine is a commodity. Anyone can buy the exact same box. What separates a machine that limps along from one that prints money is one thing only, and it is the thing the pitch quietly skips over. Location. A machine in a sleepy office of 12 people is a slow trickle. That same machine inside a busy hospital, a large factory running 3 shifts, or a gym full of thirsty members can pull in 10 or 20 times as much because it is sitting in front of a captive audience with nowhere else to go and a few dollars in their pocket. This is not a snack business. It is a real estate business wearing a snack costume, and the prime real estate is the shelf space inside somebody else's building. The underlying math is almost embarrassingly simple. Revenue comes down to how many people walk past, how many of them actually buy, and how much they spend when they do. A spot with 1,000 daily passers-by, where even 2% buy a $3 item quietly generates around $2,000 a month, while a low-traffic corner with the identical machine barely covers the cost of restocking it. You are not really buying a machine. You are buying access to a stream of foot traffic, and some streams are worth 100 times more than others. That reframing explains the single most common way beginners fail. They do it backwards. They fall for the pitch, buy a shiny machine first, and only then go hunting for somewhere to put it. By the time they are desperate to place it, they will accept almost any location that says yes. And a weak location can quietly eat a year of profit. The operators who actually succeed reverse the whole order. They lock down a great location first, sometimes pitching 15 or 20 businesses to land a single good one, and only then buy the machine to fill it. And even then, the relationship never really ends, because a good location knows its own value. Landlords and business owners renegotiate their commission every year or two, always upward. A slow squeeze the industry quietly calls commission creep. The location holds the leverage, not the machine. So how does anyone build real money out of this? The same way every low-margin per-unit business works: scale. One machine nets a couple $100 if you are lucky. But a tight route of 10, 20, 30 machines, each carefully placed, starts to add up to a real income. And by some industry estimates, the difference between the people who make it and the roughly 1 in 3 who quit in the first year comes down almost entirely to whether they treated it like a real logistics operation or a lottery ticket. Profit per machine is small. Profit per hour only works once you have enough machines close enough together that a single restocking trip services many of them at once. That is the quiet secret of the successful operator. It only becomes something like passive after you have built a dense route and, eventually, hired drivers to run it. The dream sells the machine. The reality is a delivery business, which leads to the second thing nobody tells you. Who actually owns all these machines, and how a quiet technological shift rewired the entire industry. Picture the ownership of this business as a pyramid. At the very bottom, the wide base, are thousands upon thousands of small independent operators, the side hustlers and family route businesses running a handful of machines each. That is the fragmented, romantic version everyone imagines. But at the very top sits something else entirely. A small number of giant operators dominate the biggest, most lucrative accounts, the corporate campuses and stadiums and airports. The largest of them all, Canteen, is owned by Compass Group, a global food services giant. By industry estimates, the 50 biggest firms account for roughly 2/3 of all vending sales. So the picture is oddly split. A handful of corporate giants at the peak, a long tail of tiny independents at the base, and surprisingly little in the middle. The little guy genuinely can win at the local level, but the whales own the best watering holes. And underneath all of it, in just the last few years, the economics have quietly transformed. For most of its history, vending had two ancient problems. It ran on cash, and it ran blind. An operator had no idea what was selling until they physically drove out and opened the machine. Both of those problems are now dissolving at once. Today, by recent industry data, roughly 7 out of 10 vending purchases are cashless, a tap of a card or a phone, and the average cashless sale is a little over $2. That shift alone quietly lifts sales, because people spend more freely when they are not digging for exact change. But the bigger revolution is invisible. Modern machines now report back. Through what the industry calls telemetry, a machine can tell its owner in real time exactly what has sold and what is running low. Suddenly, the operator no longer drives a blind route, restocking full machines. They restock only what is actually empty, cutting wasted trips and dead inventory. The dumb box became a connected retail node. That same data opens a door the old machines never had. With a connected machine, an operator can begin to adjust prices to demand, nudge them up in a captive high-traffic site, run a promotion where sales are soft, the same dynamic pricing that airlines and hotels have used for decades, now creeping into the humble snack box. And it gave rise to the micro-market, an unattended mini-store of open shelves, and a self-checkout kiosk, a format that recently crossed $1 billion in annual sales on its own. Data turned a coin-operated snack box into modern automated retail, and it quietly favors the larger operators, the ones with the scale to afford the technology and the analysts to read it. So what is the real lesson hiding inside the vending machine? It is one of the cleanest examples of a pattern that runs through almost every ordinary business. The visible thing, the machine, the snack, the shiny object in the pitch, is almost never where the money or the difficulty actually lives. The real business is in the boring, invisible layers underneath. The location you fought to secure, the route you drive at 6 in the morning, the relationship you renegotiate every year, and now the stream of data quietly telling you what to stock. The passive income dream oversells the box and undersells the grind, which is exactly why so many people buy in and so many quit. But run the way the survivors run it, location first, route dense, data sharp. It is a genuine, durable little industry, humming away 24 hours a day on a corner you have walked past 1,000 times. If you have ever been tempted by the passive income pitch, or just wondered how that glowing box in the corner actually makes its money, now you know the real answer is never the machine. That is what this channel is about, taking the ordinary things you pass every day and showing you the strange economics running underneath them. Subscribe, and next time we will break down another business you have never once thought of as a business. Because the most interesting empires are almost always the ones hiding in plain sight.